Michael, you can start welcoming people in.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the fourth annual Delaware County Sustainability Conference. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
And Mike, it looks like everyone that was in the waiting room is in, if you want to go
All
ahead and
right,
get
terrific.
started.
Well, I'll repeat myself. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the fourth annual Delaware County Sustainability Conference, hosted by the Delaware County Office of Sustainability. My name is Michael Schneller, and I am an energy efficiency market specialist for PICO, but that's a lot of words. Today, I will be serving as the host of today's session, providing important information to ensure that your experience both in today's session and throughout the rest of the week leaves you feel informed and inspired. First, with some housekeeping items, this session will take place in a Zoom webinar format, meaning participants will be off camera throughout the duration of the presentation. Questions are encouraged and will be addressed following the presentation. To ask a question, you may either type in the Q&A box found at the bottom of your screen or click the raise a hand button if you would like to ask your question aloud. Questions will be answered in the order in which they are received, or if we are seeing multiple similar questions of similar nature, we will bump those to the front. We will do our best to ensure that all questions have been answered. However, we'll be ending the session at the top of the hour. And please be advised that this session is being recorded. Now let's kick off our session. We are excited to welcome Noel Smyth, who will share his presentation, Powering Our Future, Understanding Energy and Its Impact, Energy 101. And a little bit about me. I have been a realtor actually for the last 25 years and discovered a massive need to improve the efficiency of our housing stock. I put that career on the back burner, achieved a degree in sustainability, and now work with PICO energy assessments and solar rebates. Through efficiency and renewable energy, I know we can improve our economy and help our region become more energy independent. And a little bit about Noel. Noel Smyth is a passionate advocate for sustainable energy and environmental action. With a BS in, that's bachelor's, that is, in civil engineering and a master's in sustainability, he brings a deep understanding of energy systems and their impact on communities. He has years of experience in both the nonprofit and private sectors, where he has developed and implemented sustainability initiatives. Noel is also an environmental advisory board member for Haverford Township, where he works to implement local sustainability programs. He is a co-founder of Solarize Delco, a program that provides free solar assessments to homeowners in Delaware County. Noel has developed educational programs on energy topics and is committed to empowering individuals and organizations to take actionable steps toward a sustainable energy future. As a home brewer and energy advocate, he strives to create connections between practical, everyday actions and larger climate goals. Now, without further ado, Noel Smyth.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Energy 101. So I first put up this view of a potato and a piece of coal, but at first glance, a potato and a chunk of coal may seem completely unrelated, but they actually have something very important in common. They are both forms of stored solar energy. A potato stores energy through photosynthesis, where plants absorb sunlight, probably from the last several months or so. It converts it into chemical energy, and it stores it in the form of starches and sugars. Interestingly, potatoes can also be used to produce biofuels as sugars that contain and can be fermented into ethanol, a renewable energy source. Similarly, coal is formed through ancient plants that absorbed sunlight millions of years ago. Through heat and pressure over time, these plants become coal, which now stores solar energy in the form of carbon. These natural materials represent different ways in which the sun's energy is captured, stored, and made available for use. whether for food, for biofuel, or as a fuel source for power. This concept ties back to the larger idea of energy transfer and how we rely on the sun, either directly or indirectly, to power our world. So energy is the capacity to do work, meaning it's what allows us to move objects, heat materials, or produce light. Work is the application of force that moves an object to a certain distance. The energy is what makes that possible. Energy can also cause change by being converted from one form to another. For example, kinetic energy, the energy of motion, such as moving a car or flowing river. Potential energy is stored energy, like the energy stored in a stretched spring or a rock sitting at the top of a hill, ready to roll down. Heat energy is the energy that flows from hot objects to cooler ones, and light energy is the energy that travels in the form of electromagnetic waves, like sunlight. And finally, electrical energy, which we're going to talk a lot about today, is the energy carried by moving electrons, which powers everything from light bulbs to computers. Each of these forms of energy is part of how we experience and use energy in our daily lives. Our energy comes from a variety of primary energy sources, which can be divided into two main categories: fossil fuels and renewables. Fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas have been the dominant source of energy for over a century, providing the bulk of energy used for electric generation, heating, and transportation. However, these energy sources are non-renewable and contribute to environmental issues like air pollution and climate change. On the other hand, renewable energy sources like solar, wind, hydro, geothermal, and biomass are becoming increasingly important as we transition to a cleaner, more sustainable energy. These renewable sources harness natural processes to generate electricity without depleting resources or producing harmful emissions. The graphic on this slide shows the U.S. consumption of primary energy by source, illustrating how different types of energy contribute to our overall energy mix and highlighting the growing role of renewables in this mix. This 2023 U.S. energy flow chart provides a comprehensive visual representation of how energy is produced, consumed, and ultimately wasted across the country. Starting on the left, it shows that primary energy sources such as fossil fuels, nuclear, and renewables, measured in quadrillion British thermal units, or quads. These sources flow into various sectors: electricity generation, transportation, residential, commercial, and industrial uses. A significant portion of this energy, nearly 2/3, is lost as rejected energy, primarily in the form of waste heat from the combustion processes. For instance, in transportation, approximately 74% of the energy from gasoline and diesel is lost, leaving only 26% to perform the useful work. In contrast, electricity generated in a more efficient with a higher percentage of energy converted into useful services. This chart underscores the importance of improving energy efficiency and transitioning to cleaner energy sources to reduce waste and environmental impact. The conversion of primary energy sources to electricity follows similar processes, although the methods of harnessing energy vary. Fossil fuels are burned to generate heat, which then creates steam, and this steam powers a turbine, which is connected to a generator and ultimately produces electricity. Similarly, geothermal energy harnesses heat from the Earth's interior to generate steam, which drives a turbine, which generates electricity. So you can see there's kind of a pattern here. In nuclear energy, fission reactions produce heat, which creates steam, which rotate a turbine and generate electricity. Hydropower goes directly from the flow of water to turn the turbine, which generates electricity. Wind energy relies on kinetic energy of the wind to rotate turbine blades, generating electricity through a connected generator. And lastly, solar energy directly converts sunlight into electricity through photovoltaic panels, bypassing the need for the mechanical movement. And just think, every step of that mechanical movement phase has energy losses. So you can see how or solar energy can be highly efficient. Each of these processes transforms a primary energy source into electricity, but the technologies and environmental impacts vary significantly. So energy use in daily life spans across residential, transportation, commercial, and industrial sectors. At home, a large portion of our energy is used for heating and cooling to maintain comfort in different seasons. Appliances and devices like refrigerators, washing machines, and personal electronics contribute significantly to energy consumption. Lighting, while more efficient with LEDs, still accounts for a large share of your household energy use. Water heating for showers, dishwashing, and laundry requires a substantial amount of energy. In transportation, most people still rely on gasoline and diesel, which are energy intensive and contribute to the emissions problems. Electric vehicles, EVs, offer a cleaner alternative, though their environmental impact depends on the electricity used to charge them. On the commercial and industrial side, energy consumption is high in manufactured processes where energy is needed to turn raw materials into finished goods. And then office buildings and data centers consume vast amounts of electricity for lighting, HVAC equipment, and cooling. Understanding where and how energy is used in these areas can help us identify opportunities to reduce consumption and shift towards more sustainable practices. The environmental impacts of energy use are wide-reaching and significant. Burning fossil fuels for energy production releases carbon dioxide, CO2, and other greenhouse gases, which contribute to global warming and climate change. Additionally, fossil fuel energy production emits pollutants like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides, which causes air pollution, smog, and pose serious health risks to humans. Power plants and industrial processes also require large amounts of water for cooling, often depleting local water resources and damaging ecosystems. Pollution from energy production, whether from chemical runoff or waste products, further contaminate our water sources. Energy infrastructure, such as fossil fuel extraction, hydropower dams, and even the construction of solar and wind farms, can disrupt natural habitats and threaten biodiversity. Moreover, waste generation, including coal ash and radioactive byproducts from nuclear power, adds into the environmental burden. Finally, transporting fossil fuels like oil, coal, and natural gas via pipelines, ships, and trains can result in accidents such as spills and leaks, causing severe environmental impact to land, water, and wildlife. All these impacts affect the planet in various ways, and it is our responsibility to reduce and mitigate these effects. By transitioning to cleaner energy sources, improving efficiency, and making mindful decisions, we can help minimize the environmental damage and work towards a sustainable future. The idea of fossil fuel energy independence is often seen as a solution to global energy challenges, but it's built on several myths. First is the global market dynamics, and OPEC's influence on oil production and pricing makes it true energy independence very difficult. The mismatch between crude oil production and refining infrastructure means countries often rely on imports for the refined products that they need. Historically, nations have engaged in conflicts to protect the free flow of oil, such as the U.S. involvement in the Gulf War in the 1990s, where protecting access to Middle Eastern oil was a key factor. Additionally, OPEC's decision to cut oil production in the 70s caused a major oil price shock, leading to widespread economic consequences worldwide. However, renewable energy offers a promising solution at both the macro and individual levels. On a larger scale, shifting to renewable energy sources like solar and wind can reduce reliance on fossil fuels and stabilize energy prices. For individuals, embracing renewable energy and energy efficiency measures at home can reduce dependencies on fossil fuels, lower your costs, and support a more sustainable future. By recognizing these myths, we can begin to focus on real solutions for energy security. Energy efficiency and conservation play key roles in reducing energy consumption and minimizing environmental impacts. Efficiency measures such as using LED lighting, Energy Star rated appliances, and improving insulation in homes and buildings help reduce the amount of energy needed for your daily activities. These measures ensure that the energy we use can be put to the best possible use. Behavioral changes also can make a difference, such as adjusting your thermostat settings to use less heating or cooling, or reducing standby power, often referred to as vampire loads, In a typical household, vampire loads can account for about 5 to 10% of the total energy use. For example, your electric home heater may heat a tank of water throughout the day, even though it's only used a few hours in the morning and evening, like during showers or dishwashing after work. This means unnecessary energy consumption can be minimized by using timers or smart plugs to only heat the water when it's needed. The benefits of energy efficiency and conservation are twofold. Not only can they lead to substantial cost savings on energy bills, but they also contribute to reduced environmental footprint by lowering the overall energy demand, leading to fewer greenhouse gas emissions and less strain on natural resources. So in this slide, we're exploring the major renewable energy technologies powering our clean energy future. Solar panels or photovoltaic panels convert sunlight directly into electricity using PV cells, an increasingly affordable technology that generates no greenhouse gases during its operations. Wind energy harnesses kinetic energy from the air, moving through turbines. Onshore wind is widely established, and offshore wind, located in ocean or large lakes, it benefits from stronger and more consistent wind, offering greater energy output during installation. Hydropower, we're familiar with. These are conventional hydropower, comes from large dams where water drives turbines. And in emerging technologies, there's new frontiers in ocean energy, including tidal and wave power that can capture energy, water movement, and tides. We're also exploring geothermal energy, which taps the Earth's internal heat for electricity and heating. So let's talk a little bit about Solarized Delco. Solarized Delco was formed in, I guess, about 4 or 5 years ago as a 501c3. This is a nonprofit. It's dedicated to Delaware County. It's founded in 2019, and we're a volunteer-driven organization, and we're really helping neighbors to figure out what's right for them in terms of deciding if solar energy is something that they could fit into their home, and if they can afford it, or how would they source it. We also have different installers that we've pre-vetted. We've done well over 200 consultations now, and well over 70 have resulted in installation in Delaware County. We also have a grant program for lower income households. So please check out our website if you know a situation that might come into play. So the process is fairly simple. Solarized Delco will do an initial assessment. We'll look at the solar potential of your home, how much shading, the configuration of the roof. We will look at, how old is the roof, look at your usage. And if you're comfortable and you want to go forward, we'll connect you with an installer. Installer will do a structural evaluation and do a more in-depth review of your home for shading and the roof configuration, and they can provide you with a free formal proposal for installing installing solar on your home. Homeowners can then consult with Solarized Delco and make a decision on how they want to move forward, or if they want to move forward. And then the installer takes it from there. Once you sign the contract, they handle the grid connection, all the permits, installs, and get you set up with solar. Solarize is there to help you along the way. Again, we're a nonprofit. We're not there to sell you anything, but we're just looking to facilitate good decisions for yourself. And then you as a homeowner start getting electricity from the sun. And you can control your energy future that way. It's more sustainable, it's more affordable, and not subject to increases in the future. So some of the benefits, like I said, you save money over time. It's a really great investment. It's one of the true investments that it's like a guaranteed payback. You will need electricity in your future, and putting solar on your home is guaranteed to save you money. Typically, a residential system would pay for itself in about 7 to 9 years. Commercial projects might take a little bit longer to pay back, around 10 to 12 years. You reduce your environmental impact, by producing your energy right on your property and using it right there. It'll increase your property value. So if you're concerned about, well, I may not be living in the house for the life of the panels, that's okay. You would recoup the investment when you sold the house as well. You know, up to, you know, studies show up to like 4% of the value of the house. So if you have a yeah, so typically, you know, it'll pay for itself in the as an improvement on the home. It's one of the few improvements to your home that you recoup all of the investment that you put into it. It may actually extend the roof life, and the way it does that is it actually most of the damage to roofs is done by sunshine over time, and by sitting on top of that, the roof is kept cooler and not subject to the sun's rays, and it will actually last longer. The panels typically have a 30-year life expectancy, but there's no reason why they won't keep working. After that, the ones that we recommend would have a 25-year warranty on all the equipment. So yeah, lots of reasons to do this if you have a good situation for it. Again, I recommend that you contact Solaris Delco to do an initial assessment to see if it's a good fit for you. So yeah, learn more at Solaris Delco. If you're interested, please share with your friends and neighbors, or you can email us at solarisdelco@gmail.com. And if you're a nonprofit and you're looking for funding as well, the Clean Energy Co-op is an option for that. So take a look at the Clean Energy Co-op, Southeast PA at gmail.com, and they can also help you figure out how to get funding for your nonprofit. If you can't do rooftop solar, there are other options. You want to check out papowerswitch.com, where you can select renewables with a fixed price, and that'll be part of your portfolio. I guess the energy portfolio in Pennsylvania includes some renewable providers, so you are free to select that. You can also look at haverfordclimateaction.org. We have a number of YouTube videos that can help folks to kind of navigate how to do that. So taking action towards a more sustainable future begins with practical steps that we can take today. Home energy audits help identify areas where you can improve energy efficiency, like upgrading insulation, replacing appliances with more efficient ones. And if you're considering solar energy, you could get a solar assessment through Solaris Delco. It's a great way to explore how solar could benefit your home, reduce your energy costs. And another important step is to electrify your home. So gradually replacing gas-powered appliances with electric ones, reducing reliance on fossil fuels, and lowering your emissions. Advocacy is also key, so engaging with your policymakers, supporting clean energy initiatives, and advocating for stronger environmental policies can help drive systemic change. And then community involvement offers an opportunity to connect with others who share your passion for sustainability. Participating in local environmental groups can amplify efforts and create meaningful change. And don't forget the power of nature. Planting a tree is a simple yet impactful way to help the environment, as trees absorb carbon dioxide and provide essential habitat. Every action, no matter how small, contributes to a more sustainable future. And with that, I will take any questions folks have.
Thank you, Noel. That was very informative. A lot of good stuff in there. Important topic. So we're going to open the floor up to questions. Do we have any questions, Rebecca?
Sure. So right now we do have one from Heather Gray in the chat that says, have there been bird strikes on solar panels? And if so, how do you prevent those?
I personally have never experienced or heard of bird strikes on solar panels. I have I've had birds fly into my windows at home, but I haven't had them that, to my knowledge, fly into the solar panels. The solar panels are less reflective than like windows and glass, so they wouldn't see images of themselves or trees or anything because they're black panels. They don't reflect images back. I wouldn't think that would be an issue. No.
Alrighty, we also have a hand up from Ira Joseph. So Ira, you should be able to speak whenever you're ready. You'll just have to unmute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So yeah, I just had a question about when you have solar panels installed and you're generating electricity, you said something about maybe more savings with having more contracts. What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Could you repeat the question? I don't think I heard everything you said there.
On one of the
Ira.
slides, there was once you're generating your own electricity with solar panels, and then you said something about more you could get increased savings by having more contracts or signing more contracts. Maybe that referring to renewable energy credits. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, let me just go over that. So a couple things with Solarized Delco, we do group buying. So if you do go solar through Solarized Delco, we do have what we think is best pricing because we do group buying through the installers that we deal with. So that's where generally the more folks that go solar, the better pricing the group gets. So that's what that's referring to. But I will just talk a little bit about the renewable energy credits that you mentioned. So in PA, there is a portfolio standard. It's very small, but it is something that requires, I think it's 1% of the portfolio in Pennsylvania to be dedicated to solar energy. And with that, you register your array with an aggregator, and your installer will do that for you. And you'll get a payment based on every 1,000 kilowatt hours of energy you produce. You get one SREC, and currently the SREX market is in Pennsylvania is quite light. It's about, I think, $30 or $35 per SREC. And so if you had a system that produced 10 of those a year, you would get, $350. So it's part of the economics that helps make this work. Not a large part in Pennsylvania. It's kind of larger in New Jersey where it might be 10 times that amount. But in Pennsylvania, that's what it is. And the other means of like saving money and being a hedge against inflation is you fix your energy price going forward. Once you put the solar panels on your house, you don't get the PICO rate increases PICO will increase them, but you won't be as affected because if you're producing all of your energy through solar panels, really the only bill you'll get from PICO is like the account, just the account maintenance bill, which is like $10 a month to send you a bill. So yeah, there's a number of ways that solar on your home reduces your I guess the operating expense of your home and controls your cost.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
Thank you. So we do have a couple others. So this one comes from Melissa Kahn. She's in Radnor. Can you discuss what the current or future process is in place to dispose of or recycle batteries?
Well, in Haverford Township, and every township's different. So if you're talking about like household batteries, we have several hazardous waste, and the county does as well, collection points a year where we do collect electronics. There's an electronics collection, but also hazardous waste collections, and those do get to be recycled as well. So that's what I would recommend for those. Now, in terms of if you're thinking like large scale industrial batteries that kind of help the grid manage renewables, yeah, they would also be able to be recycled as well, but they would do that through industrial processes as well, just to kind of reuse the materials that go into the batteries, because the battery materials are in fact reusable and can be built into new batteries in the future. So I hope that answered your question.
Thank you. Next, we have a question from Phil Coleman. How many contractors are part of the Solarized Delco program? And assuming if there are multiple, how does the organization choose among them for a given homeowner?
So we have two. We have a primary and a secondary, and we really have the primary. The secondary is a backup if the volume gets too high, or if for some reason the primary, couldn't take on more work, we would go to a secondary. So it's really as a hedge or kind of an insurance policy for us. We haven't. We're currently we don't have a volume issue or a quality issue, so everything's going well with the primary. So, but we do have a backup in case we need it.
Thank you. So
And
now
we
we have a,
just
oh, go
just
ahead.
just to follow up on that, we do reevaluate them on a 2-year basis right now. So every 2 years we'll go back out and submit an RFP to installers to reevaluate them. Okay, back to you.
Wonderful. So we have a couple different questions about kinds of like organizations or buckets that Solarize can help. So the first is from Paul Johnson in Prospect Park, asking if you've successfully consulted with a municipality for completion of installation, and if so, which ones?
Well, we've consulted with Haverford Township. The the board members of Solaris Delco were also members of the EAC in Haverford Township. So I would say we've consulted with them in a couple of projects. The library is currently contracted to go solar in Haverford Township, the reconstruction of the library, as well as we had a project approved to go onto the administration building, but then that one's on hold, not because of the solar project, because of other building issues. The facade had some issues with the new building, and that's being settled before we do that. And the school district as well, we've is moving forward with a couple of different solar installations as well. So yeah, we've done some municipal consults. We've also done commercial consults, primarily for like houses of worship. We've done several of those that have gone to get consults, and some have installed as well. Yeah, and then the bulk of our work is with residential, but yeah, we've done some commercial and worked with Haverford as well. So that helps.
And I think that also touched on Sarah Jeffrey's question if this is something that school districts could consider.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love to get school districts, and we can help them out as well, for sure.
Awesome. So next is from Naimul Islam, asking if there's eligibility criteria and if a renter can apply, including a small business owner with a lease.
Yeah, you have to own the property right now to install solar on the property, I think. So yeah, it's kind of one of the criteria that we would have is that you own the property, have I guess the legal right to install a system on it. So if you were a renter and you had a lease, what I would recommend is you get together with the building owner, and with yourself and the building owner could consult with Solaris Delco to help you out. But yeah, we would want to work with the owner of the property who has the authority to build on it. Yeah.
Awesome. And the second follow-up to that is if you own the property, can you still do this on a row home?
Absolutely, yeah. Row homes are generally good for installs. They have flat roofs, and many times, typically, there's not trees or shading on them, and yeah, you can tilt the panels to whatever direction you need. Typically, south facing is the best. So typically, row homes offer good potential, assuming they're not all, assuming they're flat roof. But again, if they're not too, if they have a slanted roof, if it's slanted in a good direction, that would work too. But yeah, typically row homes can work very well.
Thank you. And before we dive into some questions about current legislation, there was a clarifying question from Nancy Winkler. If any of the public schools in Haverford Township have installed solar.
Nope, they don't have any installed, but I think a few of them are moving that direction. Chatham Park just got selected for a grant and I think Linwood is working on, or no, not Linwood, we're hoping Linwood. There was a second one as well. I think two are moving forward, and we're hopeful for a third. So yeah, I think that's the current status of the 5 elementary schools.
And it looks like Pete Puglianesi, who's also on Solar Eyes, added a clarification, recognizing that municipal and school district consults will be very preliminary because they need to go through a bidding process, but they can help assess through and identify resources. So kind of two questions in the same breath. First comes from Shari Stuber. What's the status of community solar legislation and how can we impact that?
There's a community energy bill that's passed the PA House. It's currently would need to be considered in the PA Senate. So yeah, if you would like to advocate for that, you should contact your Pennsylvania senator to advocate for what's called community energy. And I say it's because it's more than solar; it also includes biodigesters in that as well. So if someone wants to put a community energy project in for either solar or biodigesters, that would be allowed in that current Senate bill. The House bill is passed, so yeah, it's very important. I think we're in budget season right now in the PA legislature, so they're busy trying to get the budget in place, and so it's a good time to write or contact your PA state senator to advocate for yeah, community energy projects.
Awesome. And going back to kind of the federal or state programs, from Kelsey Stanton Murphy, we have the question, do residential solar projects still receive federal/state tax incentives?
There is currently a 30% tax credit for residential solar. There is not, to my knowledge, any budget for a state incentive. There's also a PICO incentive of $500 that's in place. I will just caution that due to legislation that's being proposed at the federal level, that 30% federal may actually, it's currently supposed to sunset at, I think in 2034. I think it's at risk of sunsetting much sooner than that. In fact, it may sunset by the end of this year. Again, it's hard to tell, but that's current. I think that was in the House version of their bill that's currently going through Senate considerations to remove that. I'm not sure it'll last. It may get challenged in the Senate, but my advice is if you really are in a position to move forward with solar is to try to do it this year to ensure that you get that 30% from the federal credit. And just another word of caution, I think there might be a number of folks that are also trying to get it done this year, and the installers may have a larger backlog. And so you need your system installed and connected to PICO before December 31st to qualify in the current tax year. So to do that, you might want to consider signing that contract before the end of September to ensure that you have time to get it up and running.
Thank you. So lots of questions today. This is fantastic. Next question we have is, if your roof is primarily facing east or west, is the production penalty substantial?
I would say they're still very viable, east and west. North is probably not, I would call it suboptimal. You wouldn't get it would yeah, be suboptimal. But east and west are fine. Yeah. What that'll do is the payback I mentioned before, the residential payback is typically between 7 and 9 years. If you had like optimal, the best south facing roof with no shading, you'd probably be closer to the 7. And if you have, the east west and some shading, you might be closer to the 9-year payback. So what it does is that you generate slightly less, energy because of the angle of the sun to the panels or the amount of sun that you hit on them, but they're still very viable. Yeah. And there's a website. So first of all, you can contact Solaris Delco and we can help assess that. But there's also a website. If you just do a search on Google's Project Sunroof, and it'll actually I think for most properties in Delaware County, it's included in their analysis. It'll do a specific analysis of the solar irradiation of your roof, and I call it like it's generally accurate. The picture is a little bit old, probably on there in terms of like the trees and such. But if you want to get like a ballpark, do I have good potential for solar? Yeah, go to Google and search on Google's Project Sunroof.
Awesome. And I did put that chat or in the chat for everyone to have easy access to today. And it looks like we just have one more question. This is from Madeline Bauer. Is there a similar organization that helps installing solar in Montgomery County?
Yeah, there's a couple of solarizes in the greater Philadelphia area. There's Solarized Southeast PA, which is the one that would be useful for Montgomery County. There's Solarized Westchester, there's Solarized Philly, and there's Solarized Delaware or Solarized Delco, which is what we are. They all provide kind of different level of services. I think the Montco one is a consultancy where they'll consult with you and educate you, but they won't necessarily refer you to an installer like we do. And we have a good relationship with them. You're free to consult with Solarized Delco as well if you like.
And that was all the questions we have. So I'll turn it back over to Mike.
Okay, thanks, Noel. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your knowledge. It's always a pleasure. I too am a board member of Solarized Delco, so very familiar with all of that. So thanks to all the people that watched and participated in today's session. Following the close of the session, you will be asked to provide your feedback to our speakers in a brief Zoom survey. We appreciate your time in completing this form. The next session in the 4th Annual Sustainability Conference, titled Lessening the Burden, How PA House Bill 109 Seeks to Tackle Cumulative Impacts of Pollution in Environmental Justice Communities. If you did not sign up prior, please visit the Delaware County government website at delco.pa.gov/sustainability/conference to sign up. Finally, we'd like you all to attend our closing keynote celebration on Saturday, June 14th at the Lazaretto in Tinicum Township. This event will include a breakfast and a keynote presentation from none other than Glenn the Hurricane Schwartz, and will be followed by an EV Expo, networking, and more than 30 local organizations and museum tours in the historic Lazaretto quarantine station. Walk-ins are welcome. And also, if I might add, stop by the Pico booth table to register and schedule a free Pico energy assessment to get you on your way. Thank you again for your participation in the 4th Annual Delaware County Sustainability Conference, and have a good day.